It's Wednesday, January 31st. I'm Scott.
And I'm Rim.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight we discuss anime openers and closers. Let's do this. So today we were going to talk about one of our favorite animes. Well, maybe not in the super top, but it was a favorite anime.
Yeah, I mean...
But we got the DVD from Netflix so we could watch it again because we haven't seen it in many years. And what do you know? In the middle of the second episode, this DVD was scratched.
Oh, in the middle? You mean exactly 45 seconds from the end?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So we had to send it back to Netflix and use the Netflix scratch DVD complaint form, and I'm sure they will send us a non-scratched one pretty soon. But until then, we had to change our plans for tonight's show.
Yep, so in the very least, I'll tell you all this. If you haven't seen Dominion Tank Police, I would highly recommend, if you don't have anything better to do, that you pick it up and watch it, because we are going to review it in mostly glowing terms.
Mostly. There's not much wrong with it, really.
Yeah, I mean, especially
unless you're one of those people who just refuses to watch anything older than the year 2000.
Well, considering the era in which it came out, I'd say it's a fairly stellar anime for what it's worth.
Yeah, let's just say it holds up today as well as it did back then, and we'll leave the rest to the episode on it in the future.
So, speaking of anime, manga, comics, what do we got in the news?
Well, 3 conventions are now canceled. Check this out, ready? Gen Con SoCal, which is a gaming con, but that's not the point. It's a Southern Cal. Gen Con is a big gaming con, and they have 2 conventions, one in Indianapolis, which is the main one, and they have another one in Southern California, in Garden City. Oh, no, never mind, not Garden City. That's the second convention. Anyway, according to a letter from the CEO of Gen Con, declining attendance and a lack of dealer's room reservations caused the convention to end. But Gen Con Indy will still happen.
That's
interesting. So apparently gaming is less popular in SoCal. That's kind of weird, because I look in like the board game, gaming community, and I see a lot of action in SoCal. That Board Games To Go podcast guy, he's in SoCal, and there's a lot of people on Board Game Geek in SoCal.
Well, not just SoCal, but in the whole country. I mean, even when I was growing up, there were a lot of gaming cons in Michigan, all over the place. And even around here, I mean, UberCon is always packed to the brim with people.
Yep. So you think Southern California is a pretty big place for gaming, relative. Maybe it's not as big as like some places in Texas, like Austin or whatever, but it's huge. And they can't support a Gen Con. It's kind of weird. Maybe it's just the Gen Cons are so big, they need a lot more support, and they refuse to shrink it.
It might also have to do with how much more expensive convention space is out there.
That is true. It is quite expensive to have a convention out there.
I mean, we always forget that we live in the Northeast, where there's a convention center in every major and a lot of minor cities.
But they're all relatively small, which means they're perfect for the kind of convention that you can reasonably pull off.
Yep. However, there still are enough big ones to have big cons.
There are indeed.
You know what? I like the East Coast a lot.
Like, remember that convention center in Hartford that we went to for ConnectiCon?
Yep.
I mean, what if you had it? You could fit if you had a big convention, you could fit it in there.
Yeah, you definitely.
It wouldn't be Otakon big, but it might be like the second biggest to Otakon if you filled up that whole place.
Katsucon would fit there just fine.
Oh yeah, that might be a good idea too. Anyway.
Except that Katsucon outside of DC is like, I don't know, a dog out of water with a... There's really no metaphor I'm going with there, but Katsucon has to stay in DC.
That's true. Anyway, the second convention that canceled is the Garden City Anime Festival.
Oh, wow, I'd never heard of that. Is it big?
I never heard of it either.
Huh. I wonder if that has anything to do with it folding.
Apparently, it's in St. Charles, Ontario, and it was canceled due to an unexplained conflict among the staff, according to the CEO.
Well.
This sounds like the typical case of political infighting bringing about everyone's doom.
Yep, I probably shouldn't mention any names, but I have been involved with or heard tell of or staffed conventions that had similar problems.
Yes, we see this problem all the time, and we constantly warn people against it, and we tell people how to avoid it.
At the Anime Club summits we do at conventions, probably the biggest advice we give, aside from, show this kind of anime, do this kind of thing, is always don't let people control this club who are dumb. Be smart. Don't be idiot. Just basically don't let politics get into it. We warn people constantly that if you're not vigilant, idiots will take over any club and run it into the ground as fast as they possibly can.
Yep. So, we constantly warn against it, and here's an example of it, yet again disappointing us because, he told you so. And the third convention that decided to cancel is Anime Express in Daytona Beach. Well, sucks for those Anime World Order guys in Florida. They're one less convention. Apparently, I'm not quite sure because it's not very well worded, but it sounds like the convention, first of all, there was a Christmas tornado. I don't know if they're talking about a real tornado or not, but there's reconstruction from a tornado, which is causing them trouble. But also, the Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University's administration. So I'm assuming that this is being held at the Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. And some rooms there. Apparently, several serious breaches of trust, ERAU policy, and the law itself were witnessed and documented by ERAU safety over the past 2 years of the convention. And that has unfortunately cast the AG Anime Club in a very bad light in ERAU's eyes.
All right.
So this is the classic case of people not keeping control of the members of their convention and their club.
Basically, it seems like anime clubs and anime conventions can go into two directions when they fail. When they fail due to reasons beyond control, like staff being stupid. Either there'll be some sort of split between two factions, and then one will try to spin off a con and thing will just collapse. Or this will happen. Now, I said I wouldn't name names, but this is just too close to what happened to me. When I was a freshman at RIT, I went to join the gaming club called RWAG, the Rochester Wargamers Association and Guild. And at the second meeting, someone walked over to me and said, "Hi, what's your name?" And I said, "Oh, my name's Rim." And they said, "Congratulations. You're now the webmaster of Rudicon, a gaming convention. You are also a member of the board of directors." And I said, "Who are you?"
Wow.
And so that was the first convention I was ever staff on. To cut a long story short, my first duty as a member of the board of directors was to apologize to some of the vendors from the previous year.
But you were a webmaster. What did you have to deal with vendors?
Well, no, most small cons are run by a board of some kind, and I was the head of the website whatever group. I was the webmaster, but I was also just, a staffer.
All right.
One of my first duties was to go with another staffer and apologize to the previous year's vendors for the fact that the convention had effectively stolen money from them. And promising that it would not happen again. Add to that about 1,000 other problems ranging from nobody could tell me the password to the hosting, to no one could tell me who registered the domain name, to no one could tell me when the convention was so I could set up the pre-registration system.
Well, I think part of this unique situation, I don't know if it's a unique situation, but is that you were actually trying to do the job that some random person came along and gave you in our typical professional manner that we are known for, while nobody else was. Therefore, they were dumbfounded when they saw you actually trying to work, and they continued to not work. In fact, they counteracted your overworking by working less.
Well, you see, I was excited about it at first because that was before I'd even been to an anime convention. That was the moment when I thought, you know what? I'd love to be staff of all this business. I want to be a big shot. This will be fun. I'm going to work hard and show these people I'm cool and competent, and maybe someday I'll be the con chair. Well, I quit being the webmaster after a few months, and the con, I guess, happened.
I think it didn't happen, then it happened the next time.
All I know is that convention very shortly thereafter folded completely for almost the exact same reasons that this convention has failed.
I say both of the reasons.
So,
except for the reason, all three reasons. That con didn't have enough people, just like Gen Con. It had infighting among the staff, just like Garden City Anime. And there was bad stuff going on, just like the
Daytona
Anime
Beach.
Express. Yep.
Well,
it was all three.
One, I guess we should ask people who live in Florida if they've heard of the AG Anime Club. But your anime club, your anime club, the club where you get together and watch Japanese cartoons and talk about them and possibly yell at the screen to make national news.
It's not really national news.
It's national news in terms of the anime world.
It's not national news.
It's on the internet on a semi-respected website.
But to make the Anime News Network.
It's national news. It's anime national news.
Whatever.
Of anime fans who care even more than a little bit, as opposed to a Naruto fan.
Yeah.
It's out there. For your anime club to be called out for being terrible and incompetent.
All I can say is if you have a bunch of people getting together to enjoy anime, those people probably shouldn't be breaking the law or making a safety nuisance. This is why places like Otakon have all these rules like no signs, no giant sticks, no guns, etc., etc., etc.
No
so
touching.
That they don't end up like that. That's why you should do what Otakon says and not complain about it. Because if you complain about it, that means you agree with the AG Anime Club. That's bad.
Wow. I mean, I've met some bad anime clubs in my day, but this really takes the cake. Unless there's something we really don't know about that happened, but somehow I doubt that.
The details, I imagine, would be very humorous and also very sad.
If anyone knows, if any of our listeners know about the AG Anime Club or this convention or Anime Express,
or any of the, if you know more details about the closings of any of these 3 conventions, tell us because we will be entertained.
Yes.
We don't really care about like spreading secrets, We don't even know these people. We don't really care. We just want to be entertained by stories of people fucking up royally.
If we wanted to spread secrets about anime cons,
we could. Anyway, so what's your news?
Well, I'm sure you're all aware of Free Comic Book Day. If you're not, very simply, it is a day once a year sponsored by the comic industry where if you go to any semi-reputable comic book store, they will give you a pile of free comic books.
Yep, it depends on the store how many free comic books and which ones you will get. But basically the idea is that since no one reads comics anymore, they try to bribe people into liking comics by once a year giving away a few comics for free to try to convince you or to get you hooked.
Well, this year it's on Saturday.
Kind of like a drug dealer giving you the first cocaine for free.
It's on Saturday, May 5th.
Only it's really weak.
Saturday, May 5th, 2007. Now, you might remember that last year we went to the comic book shop near us to get our free comics.
Well, a terrible comic shop.
Yeah, it's also the comic shop.
Well, Dragon's Den is a comic shop.
Dragon's Den's a lot further away.
It was a lot further away, but it's also 10,000 times nicer than the place we ended up going to.
Not the greatest selection, though.
No, not the greatest.
But anyway, we go to this comic shop.
We're not going to get good selection outside of the city.
And basically, it was a scary fat nerd and his scary fat nerd staffer guy. And it was nothing but like Silver Age
10-year-old
comics.
kids.
Silver Age comics piled up everywhere, like under tables. And then whatever new comics were out, piled up everywhere. I don't think they sold anything but straight up comic books.
It was dank and vile and dirty.
Yeah, it smelled bad.
This is a bad place.
And we walked in and, we asked, hey, can we have our free comic books? And the guy seemed really kind of pissed off that we wanted our free comic books, but yet we weren't buying any comics.
Well, he handed us free comic books because it's free comic book day. And we left without buying anything in his shady-ass store.
I mean, they didn't even have manga. Other than there was a little bit of Lone Wolf and Cub, like, in the bottom corner. And it was way overpriced.
Yep.
Like, over the suggested price was his price, and it was more.
That doesn't mean you shouldn't participate in free comic book day.
No.
Why would you ever turn down free comics?
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit that last year I liked maybe 10% of the free comics, but the free comics that I did like...
we did an episode about them, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
We should continue that trend.
Well, I think we will.
All right.
But yeah, I don't see anything particularly of note. Gemstone is putting out a Walt Disney Mickey Mouse.
Woohoo!
There's going to be a new Battlestar Galactica flip book.
I don't really care about that.
What? What's wrong with you?
You can have that.
Archie Comics is putting out Archie Comics.
Great.
And apparently Antarctic is putting out something called Pirates vs. Ninjas #1, which...
I'm buying that. It's going to be here in a week or two.
I hate to say it, but as much as I love pirates, and as much as I love ninjas, and as much as I love anything that combines the two...
It's a bad comic, I know.
One, I don't think you can make a good comic about that.
I got a comic recently, Cowboys vs. Aliens. It was so generic and just cliche. There was nothing to it. It's like, I could have made this comic. Well, maybe not the art, but every other part of it was just, it's exactly what it says on the cover. It's not... It's so shallow.
Oh, guess what?
And I imagine Pirates vs. Ninjas to be equally shallow.
Guess what Wildcard is putting out?
What are they putting out?
Gumby.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
That's Gumby, and if Gumby and Owly are the most exciting comics,
they are.
That says something good and something bad.
Yeah, I didn't even mention Owly because Owly and Corgi is... We're going to buy that anyway. It doesn't matter if it's a free comic book. Owly's great.
Yeah, Owly.
If you don't like Owly, you're not a human being.
Of course, Owly is for nursery school kids.
Yeah, you know what?
But its biggest fans are, like, college people. It's like, imagine if, like, all of a sudden C-Spot Run was all the rage in the college crowd.
I wonder if we could manufacture
those Dr. Seuss books, man, they're hot among the 40-year-olds.
I'll bet we could put together some sort of meme viral marketing that would make that happen.
Perhaps. Oh man, you know what you want? That just reminds me. You know what other kids' book I liked? Remember those Mr. Men, like Mr. Happy, Mr. Sad, Mr. Grumpy?
No.
No, you don't remember those books?
Never even heard of
Oh,
that.
those are so great. Oh man, those are the most fun books when you're a little kid. All right. Anyway.
Things of the day. Now, if you haven't seen this movie called 40-Year-Old Virgin, it's worth seeing once. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, I walked into it. I didn't watch it on purpose. It's just other people decided to watch it.
Well, I came in with
and I just went along with it.
the lowest of expectations.
I went in with expectations so low, I expected to turn it off in 10 minutes and go do something else.
Well, aside from the fact that the movie was actually pretty good,
it was okay.
it had this one ongoing gag where two guys are playing a video game, and they eventually have a conversation along the lines of, you know how I know you're gay? You know how I know you're gay? And it's
You
very
know how I
good.
know you're gay?
It's very
Your dick tastes
good-natured.
like shit.
It's definitely two friends ragging on each other in a very semi-non-offensive, but slightly offensive, yet funny nonetheless way.
Yep, and after we watched this movie, anytime someone said something that could possibly be a homosexual innuendo,
Like, hi, my name's Scott Rubin.
yeah, everyone else would be like, hey, you know how I know you're gay?
In fact, that is the joke behind the, you know how we know Rim and Scott are gay thread in the forums. Thank you very much. One of the most popular threads. God damn it.
God damn it.
Anyway, so someone decided to do something clever and reinvigorate this joke by taking various clips of Batman and Superman hanging out and putting the audio from those scenes over this.
So, Batman is like, hey, Superman, you know how I know you're gay?
And
You
Superman's
fly
like,
around wearing your underwear on the outside.
it's really good. It's really
And
worth
you don't
the
use
listen.
your x-ray vision to look in the girls' locker room often enough.
Now, especially if you haven't seen that movie, I don't know if this will be more funny or less funny. I imagine it'll be more funny because you won't know the jokes that are coming up.
Hey, Batman, you know how I know you're gay? One word, Batusi.
Anyway,
Yeah. Okay, so my thing today has a lot of links. So anyone who goes to the show notes to click on this, I'm going to make a lot of links there for you because I'm not just doing it on any one thing. My thing of the day is anime dance. Now, not anime dance in general, but specifically dances created by anime. Now, the earliest instance of this that I know of, because I only know of 3 instances, and then the 4th instance is a music video. It doesn't really count.
well, we can't really talk about things that were before our time anyway.
Right, because we don't know. However, there is a trend among certain anime shows to usually in the closer, but also sometimes in the opener, to have the characters of the show perform some sort of choreographed dance and then have a good song going with it, and it catches on, and then people in Japan will just do this dance in the street everywhere, and people dancing in the street will create popularity for the show, etc. Now, the first instance of this, which is a show called Kodocha, or was it Child's Toy?
Uh-huh.
Yep. And I think the second opener had a dance called the Ultra Relax. Now, you can go on the internet and you can find a video of the second opener and you'll go, oh, that. And
Yeah, we know this dance. We used to do it a lot at anime music nights when that song would come up.
It's quite a fun dance. Now, you will also note that there are videos of the Geeknights people doing this dance
Yes.
in the street. There are videos of random Japanese people doing this dance in the street. And someone made a funny music video that combines the opener with Evangelion characters that is quite high quality. Now, that was the first time, and you're like, oh, that's the anime show that has a funny dance. Well, that was true until Mahoromatic came out.
Yeah, Mahoromatic is not the best show.
No, it's really not.
We're not going to talk about Mahoromatic, but at the end, there's the Mahoromatic Mambo. And now we didn't know, and we showed the show in club, and we saw this dance in the closing credits, and we all looked at each other. God damn it! Now we got to learn this thing.
Yep, I mean, we didn't really like Mahoromatic. In fact, I only ever saw one episode of it.
I read
But-
spoilers, and I'm not
Okay.
impressed.
But the at the end of the show, there's a catchy song, and the characters do a dance. So what can you do?
The dance is actually pretty easy, except there's this step-in thing that it's real easy to just fall over.
Yeah.
I fell over twice trying to learn
You
it.
got to practice it a few times. Now, after the Horrormatic came out, some guy who's pretty awesome made perhaps one of the best anime music videos ever, the Mambo Leo, which is a song that has nothing to do with anime.
You spin me inside outside, and you hold me so tight. We'll dance and party all night. Mambo, mambo, baby. So kiss me in the moonlight. You know it always feels right. We'll dance and party all night. Mambo, mambo, baby.
And it's a various music video with lots of different anime in it.
Yeah, the credits to the video are almost as long as the video itself, listing every anime they pulled stuff from. And to this day, I can't find the actual frames where some of the anime they talk about are in this music video.
I know the Trigun one is the saxophone.
Yep.
Anyway, there's no real dance in it because it's just a whole bunch of clips of anime characters moving in ways that may be interpreted as dance.
But fast forward backward to back when
Rewind.
we were at RIT Anime. And for various reasons, Para was really popular back then. And we decided to have some sort of, choreographed thing that'd be our club thing. And the president at the time, Luke, decided to put this together. And he choreographed, kind of based on some other things, there's a lot of influences to it, this dance to the song. And all of us on the executive board learned it.
Including the Ultra Relax.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we learned it. And then we performed it for club to the song at an anime music night or something.
We also did it in front of club while the video played.
Well, the club fucking loved it. They just ate it up. And whenever there was a dance party, ever, we would play that song about 3/4 of the way through. Like, there'd be the secret
Well, because the song starts with this clapping, right? So you can sort of, if you start playing the song, everyone who knows the dance can start clapping and walking towards the area where they will perform the dance.
So it'd get to the point where every year there'd be, 10 people at the front of the dance hall doing this choreographed skit dance while the rest of the crowd is just screaming and going, "Oh my God, this is crazy. What are they doing? I don't understand."
Yep. Now, there is a new popular anime called The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. And I did not watch it yet, but I know it is popular, and some people say it is good. I cannot comment. I have not watched it. However, unbeknownst to me until recently, the closer of this show has a dance, perhaps the most complicated anime dance yet. And we may spend an entire day this weekend learning it, as is our duty.
Yes. I mean, if you don't know us very well, or maybe you just found us from all these podcast directories or people that talk about us, we like attention. We like...
We like to dance, too.
Yes.
And we like music and dance music.
So when we go to anime cons, especially back in the day before we did this podcasting business, or even back at RIT when we had anime dance nights, not only would we dance to anime music and techno and whatever, but we always liked to do some sort of thing that would put us at the center of attention. Oh no, Rim and Scott trying to be the center of attention, you say? Well,
Maybe that's why they podcast so much.
we really have no choice but to learn this dance, and at some
You
point...
mean completely master and memorize every single step in this dance.
Maybe we should put a video up of us doing the Mamboleo dance, because we've got that thing down. I could do it in my sleep.
I forget, it's coming back to me now, but I don't remember all of it.
And 3, 4, and cross.
Yep. I remember most of it, but not...
You know what? If there's enough interest, we'll make a video at some point and put it on the website so all of our listeners can learn it.
Yep, but anyway, go look at my thing of the day, and you will see videos of all the anime dances in their, in their animated and live action and mixed up forms.
So here's your mission, Geeknights listeners. If you can learn this dance before Otakon 2007.
You not just learn it, you have to keep it learned. You can't learn it right now and then forget it at Otakon. You have to be able to perform this dance at the drop of a hat without missing a beat. If you're one of those people, who kind of messes up a little bit, or you suck. You might as well not have learned it at all. You need to do it as well as the characters in the anime.
If you can do that by Otakon, you go to Otakon, you will be able to be a part of something not fully planned out yet, but guaranteed to be awesome.
That's right. It could be anything ranging from spontaneous dancing in the hallway to a legitimately registered cosplay. Who knows?
Now, if any of you go to Katsukan and you know this dance by then...
Katsukan, yeah. We're not going to make you learn the whole dance by Katsukan, because we might not even have the whole dance learned by Katsukan. But that will be the practice run.
But if you can somehow do this dance for us at Katsukan, I guarantee we will have some manner of remuneration.
Remuneration?
Compensation for your efforts.
Yes.
Money, or a prize, or a reach
If you've
around.
already got the dance memorized, you're awesome.
If someone sends us a video of them doing it before Katsukan, I'll just cry.
Well, no, because I'm sure if you go on YouTube, you can find bunches of people already doing this dance.
No. It has to be a video of you, and we'll know.
How will we know?
We'll know.
Okay.
We'll know.
All right.
Just like, that looks like a bunch of Japanese people. You're not Japanese.
All right. Anyway, as I said before, we were going to do the show on Dominion Tank Police, and we can't because the DVD was scratched.
But you should watch Dominion Tank Police.
So, anyway, the idea of all these anime dances gave us a good topic for today's discussion. We're going to talk about anime openers and closers. Now, we're going to do this in separate parts. First, I want to ask a question. What is the purpose of an opener and a closing?
Now, that's an interesting question. I mean, on one hand, an opener, especially for the first episode of a show, or the first few episodes, is the first thing you experience about the show. That's the moment where you...
I don't know about that because, back in the day, maybe a show would come on and the opener was the first thing you saw. But nowadays, especially first episodes, it seems like there's a short prologue before the openers start.
True.
So it's not really, the thing. It no longer has the purpose of letting you know, hey, the show's on. It used to be Voltron starting right now, or G.I. Joe is starting right now, or Transformers is starting right now. But it's not. Now there's a prologue. So that's not the purpose of the opener, I don't
But
think.
at least back in the day, I mean, there were a lot of shows where the first episode has the opener, and just by looking at the opener, to at least a good opener, or at least an average opener, you can know basically what kind of show it is, unless it's one of those shows that pulls a 180 and the opener has nothing to do with it. I mean, you watch the Sailor Moon opener, you know exactly what you're going to get out of Sailor Moon. You watch the Big O opener, you know exactly what Big O is about.
Oh, you know what Big O is about.
It's about Big O.
That's right. Big O. It's showtime.
Cast in the name of God, ye not guilty.
Yeah.
We have came to team Big O.
Mm-hmm. Well, personally, I think that openers have two main purposes. The first purpose is sort of a bridge. It makes the prologue possible when you think about it. It's like without the openers, these prologues on anime totally wouldn't work. Because what the prologues do is they kind of lead you into the episode, like something, 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 suspense, opener. And it's like, and that suspense carries over the opener, and then the episode starts. And that, to me, feels a lot smoother a start to watching a show than just opener, get right into it.
Yeah, well, it also definitely, I mean, say you do that, you have the regular prologue, like, it was a sad time, and then that thing happened, and it fades out, and then the show just fades in. That's a totally different vibe from blah, 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 and then the opening music fades in.
Yep. The other thing, the main purpose, I think, of openers is to set the mood for the show. It's like if you're about to watch, I don't know, like Love Hina, right? The opener is all sort of happy and jumpy and do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. That's sort of the mood of the show matches that opener. So, if you just start watching it, it's like you'd have to get into the mood during the show, itself, as opposed to you're set in the mood by the opener and then the show starts. It gives you the correct feeling before, you don't need to run up while stuff is happening.
Initial D definitely did that well. It definitely put you in this kind of grooving, yeah, let's go mood.
Yep. I think that's the purpose of an anime opener.
Now
what about a closer, though? Besides, of course, showing the credits. The credits is obvious. But, unless you're someone who reads the credits, what is the purpose of a closer?
Well, it seems like there are two kinds of shows when it comes to closers. And the first kind are the shows that they'll show you, like, clips from the episode, or really just kind of nothing. It'll be barely anything at all. Like,
well, I guess the closer does actually let you know the episode's over.
Well, maybe it'll be some screenshots from the previous episode. Maybe it'll be a series of art shots that aren't in the show. I remember one particular Full Metal Alchemist closer that was just a lying back Winry being panned over, and then various pictures of Winry doing things.
Yep.
And there are the rare shows that actually have a closer that's a lot like the opener, that's fully animated, crazy, well done, beautiful, whatever. And those don't seem to be very common anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think one purpose of a closer is that if you're watching shows in marathon, I remember at Anime Club, I don't do it now, but at Anime Club, we always showed all openers and closers when marathoning shows.
This seems to be a point of contention in modern anime clubs and among younger anime fans. I mean, in the old days, there was this idea that you have to watch every single screen second of every anime. I mean, when I got a fan sub on a tape, it had the opener, then it had the show, it had both eye catches, then it had the closing credits and the preview. At the end of every episode, it would then show the opener and the closer again without the subtitles or the credits. So you got the pure version, so you could watch that too.
Mm-hmm. They seem to have moved that to the extras, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking more about fan subs.
I remember the first time I saw anime at Anime Club, it was so weird because, okay, we watched the opener. I know what an opener is. That makes sense, And then there'd be the eye catches. I'm like, what the hell? And then at the end of the episode, that'd be the closer. Then they would show the preview for the next episode. Then they would show the opener, again. So it's like if I watched 4 episodes of a show, I saw the opener 4 times and the closer 4 times. And 2 of the times, the opener had the English subtitles, and 2 of the times, the opener had the Japanese subtitles. And it's like, whoa, why don't we just watch the opener once at the beginning and once at the end and the 4 episodes in the middle?
But yet...
And why do we have those eye catches there? Do we really need those?
Well, we were kind of the bridge. I mean, it seems like the people just slightly more older school
that was
than
my
us.
thoughts originally. Now sometimes I like to watch the opener.
Well, honestly, because I've been watching fan subs, mostly Sailor Moon and Ava, just whatever crap I could get a hold of back then. And I always watched every single thing on those tapes. I think part of it was that they were hard to get. So if you got an anime, it felt so special, especially if it was something that wasn't just available in the US. Mm-hmm. And you felt like it was your duty to get all your money's worth out of it. And I would watch the textless opener and closer and just marvel at them.
Wow.
And I think that's just from a bygone culture of anime is this rare and difficult to get thing. And when you get it, it's like a museum piece. Like, ooh, look how the opener's animated. Oh, I got to see it without all those characters in the way, without all that text blocking that art.
Yep.
But then all the younger kids in Anime Club, as we were getting older and getting closer to graduation, would constantly ask, why are we watching the closer over and over again? I want to finish the show so I can get to tape checkout.
Yep. Now, I do kind of think that when watching a show in marathon form, episode after episode, that the closers do actually provide sort of this nice transition between episodes of, feeling. I mean, if you were just stayed in the mood for the show throughout 26 straight episodes without, the closer to kind of bring you down and then the opener to bring you back in, that can seriously fuck you up with some shows.
Well, especially, we used to do this a lot when we were in college, where we'd pick a weekend, we'd get a 26 episode show, and we'd marathon the thing pretty much in one day.
Yep.
Now, it seemed like the best way to handle it, at least the way that I liked, was we'd watch the opener about half the time. Like, sometimes we'd watch the opener, sometimes we'd skip it. But we always watched the closer just at the end of whatever tape we were watching. Mm-hmm. And then between tapes, we had kind of this wind-down period where we'd all just kind of sit there all wistful.
Yep.
Of course, that might have been due to the fact that we were usually watching heavy-duty anime and not so much
and
comedy.
over long periods of time without rest.
I mean, we mostly marathon things like Ava and Eska and Utena. We didn't really marathon anything funny.
Nope. All right, so we know why openers and closers are important. Oh, they're also important to market new hit music, at least in Japan. They don't seem to do that in America so much. At least I don't watch TV anymore. Maybe they started doing it. But in Japan, they always put hit music on like the big anime as the openers and closers so they can sell that music.
Well, also, a lot of
Gundam Seed sold a lot of records for TMR, let me tell you.
They also seem to use them a lot, not so much now, but especially back in the day. The opener itself was basically a trailer for the show. I mean, before you could get digi-subs or anything, the commodity that was traded online were often just openers to shows you'd never heard of. And in fact, I remember when I saw the opener to Escaflowne long before I had any way of getting Escaflowne, and that got me so hooked and pumped about that show.
Yeah, that is true. All right, so we know why openers and closers exist. What makes a good opener as opposed to a bad opener?
Well,
and the same for closers.
There's a lot of different kinds of openers and closers. I mean, they range from the generic animation made to be an opener along with whatever kind of music is popular in Japan at the time. There's the ones that try to be, like, they'll have a song that's written for the show that really fits or kind of reveals things about the show. set to an opener that reveals things about the show or shows you footage from the show that you haven't seen yet. I guess like an example of the former would be all of the Full Metal Alchemist openers that were really just kind of popular J-rock song with cool imagery.
Yep.
As opposed to, say, Evangelion, where the show's opener was actually pretty relevant to the show in terms of the music. And if you pay attention to the opener, it reveals a lot in really obtuse ways and definitely sets up that this is not the kind of show you think it is.
Oh, wow. The Ava opener is just kind of crazy and out there.
Yeah, I remember when we were first watching Ava, we actually slowed it down and tried to look at all the frames in the opener and tried to figure out what was going on. Yeah. And some of that stuff was disturbing, especially when you didn't know where the show was going.
Oh, man, yeah. Another good example, well, I don't know, a related example is the Utena opener with the horses.
Oh, God. We knew this guy, Dwayne. I think we've talked about Dwayne off and on. Dwayne is a bigger Utena fan than either of us, and that's saying a lot. Now, he had seen all of Utena before I had seen more than 2 episodes of it. And I remember one day he was talking to me while stoned, and he hadn't seen the end yet. Like, he'd seen everything but the last 2 episodes. And he tells me, between puffs on his joint, that he knows what's going to happen because every scene from the opener happened in the show, except for the last one, which shows 2 characters on horses in armor flying toward a castle. And he was so sure that that was going to be in the show because everything else was in the show. Not going to ruin whether or not it was in the show, but I think you can guess.
Yep. All right. So, what do I think makes a good opener? Well, actually, personally, I think that the music is more important than the animation in the opener. Not that animation is not important in the opener, but basically, you can have a decent opener if the music sets the right mood and the animation is kind of cheap, as long as it's not, non-existent. But you can't have a good opener with bad music, even if your animation is amazing.
Of course,
unless you do something really artistic and you're all like a silent opener or something like that.
Good and bad music is really subjective because especially since openers more and more now are whatever music's popular at the time. So a lot of older anime.
It's not so much whether the music is good or bad as if you like the song. It's so much that does the music match the mood of the show?
Well, look back in the day, Tank Police. The opener in Japan is this totally generic
80s pop song.
80s J-pop song. And it's like Hot Dance and Cherry Moon.
Hot Dance and Cherry Moon.
It has so little to do with the show. It's even worse in terms of relevance than Full Metal Alchemist openers. And yet, the opener itself, the way it's animated, is super awesome. And
it's all right. It's all right.
Well, this might be a controversial
It's not the greatest.
opinion.
It's a lot of panning over stills as opposed to animation.
Well, it's also a lot of Big O style, a bunch of tanks, a bigger set of tanks, a bigger set of tanks, kind of
that is true.
tanks. But my controversial opinion is that the redubbed, re-musiced American opener is vastly superior to the Japanese opener.
I don't know. It wasn't on the DVD, so I can't really comment.
Well, I've
because
seen
I don't
it.
remember it from back in the day so much.
Basically,
I only remember it a little bit.
They wrote a song that fits exactly with what's going on in the opening animation, and it enhances it and makes it an awesome opener, where the Japanese opener, which has the same great, funny, relative to the time animation, totally doesn't set the mood of the show at all because it has this completely irrelevant song attached to it.
Mm-hmm. Now, what makes a good closer? See, I used to think that a closer would be good if it took you from the mood of the show back to a neutral mood that you could live with in the everyday world.
I can name 2 shows that have really good openers, and I have a very specific reason why.
Yeah.
Fushigi Yugi, the first season, which actually I really like that song.
I've never saw the opener, but I think I'd know the song if you played it for me.
The closer.
Yeah. Oh, the closer.
And Nana.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Now, the reason I say these 2 is that both of them, the shows use the closer in a very specific way. The end of every episode would usually build to some sort of cliffhanger, climax, or stopping point. One of those 3 in every single episode, but when I say stopping point, like a big stopping point. And even when there was a stopping point, they'd always leave you kind of hanging, like just barely over the edge of a cliffhanger. And you'd know when the end of the show was coming up, because they'd slowly pan in the closer's music.
Gundam Seed did that also.
Gundam Seed
that is
did.
one of the best things ever is when animes start playing the closing music like 10, 15 seconds before the end of the show.
Full Metal
And then
Alchemist did that too.
They did. A lot of shows are doing that now, and even though a lot of people are doing it, it's good. So keep doing it. There's no reason that most shows shouldn't be doing that.
Because I'm not sure why, but I guess it keeps the level of the energy of the show up, and it pulls you out of the show into the real world, but yet you don't get that sense of, all right, I'm done. You get that sense of, something's happening, and I gotta see it.
Yep. Another a good example of a recent closer that is awesome is the Gankutsuo closer.
Oh, yeah.
See, now, it's weird, that one, because the music doesn't start until the closer starts. The closer just kind of jumps out at you at, like, you know...
But it hits you really hard.
You know? And the closer doesn't have much animation to it. It's just mostly credits.
But you know what? It doesn't need it.
It doesn't need it because that song is so powerful.
God, I mean, the lyrics to that song are probably the closest fitting closer lyrics to any anime ever.
I don't know. I just love that so much. I don't know why.
Yeah, it seems like the hard-hitting closers, regardless of how they're animated, just the use of music is more important than the use of animation. And in fact...
Yeah, you know, actually, there's a lot of shows that, like, I like the show a lot, but the closers are just kind of like, na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. It's the end of the show.
Yep, they usually have, like, one or two still shots kind of slowly move from the bottom to the top, like on the side, or like a naked ray spinning in front of the moonlight while someone sings "Fly Me to the Moon."
Yeah, like let's see, yeah, Evangelion closer, not so exciting, really. I'm not a fan. What else doesn't have the greatest closer? Cromartie High School, not the greatest closer.
Yeah, now, Gog Manga Biori.
I was just gonna say Gog Manga Biori because I had it in my mind. You beat me to it at the same moment.
That is another hard-hitting, fantastic closer. I don't think I need to play that one.
No.
But
yeah.
it seems like a lot of shows until very recently had just totally lame closers that you just immediately change the channel. And I think part of the rationale for having these new closers might not be entirely artistic. I'll bet the networks in Japan have something to do with it. Because if the closer is just like a stopping point, like fade out, na 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 na, with credits going by, that's a real great time for someone to turn off the TV and go have a real life somewhere. Mm-hmm. If the closer hits you hard, full energy, and keeps you pumped up, you're going to sit there to the end of the closer. And then a new show is going to come on.
Yeah. You know, actually, in the United States, it doesn't seem like every show has a closer, I guess, but it seems like a lot of shows will just, you know, they just break the screen in half. They start running ads immediately on the other half of the screen.
They used to not do that.
And the credits just kind of flow.
That's a new, that's a new development as in, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But in America, it seems like openers and closers just don't matter anymore at all. I mean, the average show is like a 10
Well,
or 15...
I think that the cartoons still have the openers.
Yeah, but actual TV that normal people watch in
Actual
America,
live-action TV in the U.S., they seem to have these really short, meaningless openers. I haven't watched TV recently.
They're
I'm
all
sure
the same.
There's some shows that...
Every drama show is like dun, 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 and like shots of the people standing there like, I'm the serious guy. I'm a guy with a gun. Look at us run past this car that's about to explode.
Yeah, I mean, look at like The Simpsons has an opener, right? There's a freaking opener.
Yeah,
for
but you know what? As soon as Simpsons goes into reruns, at least as long as I watch TV.
Yeah, if you watch a Simpsons on Sunday night, you get the full opener. If you watch a rerun or a syndicated Simpsons episode on another channel or during the week, it has the shortened opener. And the closer to The Simpsons is just do 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 do, and the credits. There's nothing to it.
Well, the other thing I always notice that in America, closers have an opener.
You know, Futurama, the same thing. Big opener, no closer.
Well, closers and openers have the same production values as the show. But in Japan, a lot of anime, especially older anime, seem to put so much money and effort into the opener and closer. I'd put forth Sailor Moon, especially the later seasons of Sailor Moon. The animation in the openers and closers was beautiful and phenomenal and
Well, I think
crazy.
it's when you know that opener is going to be played so many times, you put a lot more effort into it. When you're making animation that's going to be shown in one episode, you know, you're not going to put as much money into it as you are something that's going to reappear constantly.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like the Gonzo effect, only applied to an individual episode.
Yeah, it's like if we make a mistake here, people are going to see that mistake every week. We can't make a mistake here.
Now, the problem with this was that Sailor Moon, beautiful, beautiful opener and closer, right? Then you're watching the show,
And it
as soon as
doesn't
the opener
live up
ends,
to the opener and the closer at all.
especially in the middle of, I don't know, Sailor Stars, where they started hiring scab artists because they were running out of money, and it's like a different show comes on.
Yep, Utena, same kind of thing, almost.
Yeah, Utena actually has a really beautiful opener compared to the show. But
It does, but there's one Utena closer that's awesome.
yeah.
Which one is it? It's the one where it's like white and there's a rectangle. So, let's move on to the final bit about openers and closers. What are the bests and the worsts?
Well, it depends on what you're going after. I mean, I really like.
Well, your favorites, then, whatever.
Well, see, I really like the Full Metal Alchemist openers and the Gundam Seed openers.
I really like the Gundam Seed openers a lot. And the Gundam Seed closers, I don't think are as great, but the way they pull the music in at the end of the episode
Here's my
is high quality.
problem with the Gundam Seed openers. A lot of openers like to have information about the show.
That is true, that
in
I
their
do
s-
not like about them.
in there subtly. The problem is Gundam Seed, if you are at least of average intelligence, the openers and closers reveal to you
You have to purposefully maintain and give yourself doubt in order to disbelieve the information the openers are giving you, even though all of it is true.
Scott had already seen the show and I hadn't. While we were watching it, I picked out exactly, like every single romantic twist, every single change of allegiance is based solely on the openers and closers.
And when I watched the show originally, I saw the same things that Rim did in the openers and closers, but I chose to maintain doubt about them. I would tell myself, it's just the opener. It doesn't mean it's going to turn out that way. It's just the opener. It doesn't mean it's going to turn out that way. And then it did anyway, but I was able to purposefully maintain doubt for my own sanity.
See, I just knew the only thing I didn't predict in that show was the thing that wasn't in the openers and closers at all.
Yep,
The thing that could not be predicted.
of course.
Because it was kind of chintzy.
Yeah.
Just a little.
yeah.
It was a little too convenient.
Anyway,
Yeah. I don't know. My favorite opener is probably a cross between Utena, just because the Utena opener, there's a lot to it. Just like the show, there's a lot to it. All the Sailor Moon openers, just because they're really, really pretty, and because there's a lot of nostalgia for them. And I don't know. It's hard to say.
I would say the best opener ever is, I don't know if I could argue against it, is Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop is very special because it has an opener that really nails home the idea that Cowboy Bebop is a show unlike other shows. That it's kind of this new
The
genre.
closer is kind of It basically has no animation whatsoever. It's just the credits scrolling over, a picture. But the,
no,
mu-
it's the
the
credits-
song is pretty awesome.
It's the credits scrolling over fairly relevant pictures.
Yes, but it's just a still picture. But the music in the closer is very good.
Well, that's part of it. Generally, I can watch the opener to a show every time I watch the show, even if I'm marathoning it. But generally, I can't watch a closer more than once, and I only look at the
I
closer.
can watch the Gankutsuo closer every time.
Yeah, but most closers, after I see them
Most
once,
closers, after I see them once, I can't watch them.
all I do is check periodically to see if the closer changed.
Yeah, and there's some openers, like Gundam Seed, like the openers are good. I could watch them a bunch of times. I couldn't watch them 50 times. It's a 50-something episode show. But the fact that they changed the opener, okay, now I can watch every opener because they change it often enough throughout the show. There's like 4 or 5 different openers, so it's still cool. What other openers are really damn good? See, the Trigun opener has that really perfect, awesome music, but the animation, there's nothing to it. It's just still pictures.
The Trigun opener is garbage. Of course, they particularly gimped the opener of Trigun in the U.S. You see, the opener changes episode to episode based on what goes on in the episode. And in the U.S. release, they just pretended it didn't do that, or maybe they didn't realize it, and they just took the one from the first episode and used it for the whole show.
Yeah, because there's definitely, like, the opener is just a bunch of pictures, and the camera pans over these still frames. But there's one still frame that's relevant to the episode you're about to watch. And it's always a frame that's relevant to the first episode. So I must assume, I don't know if it's 100% true, that in Japan, that if you watched it on TV, that it was a different still frame every opener.
It was. I saw some fan subs that showed me that.
Oh, did you? All right. Well, in the U.S., it was just the opener for the first episode every time.
Also, in terms of changing openers, there's one show that the opener wasn't great, other than the fact that it set the mood for the show really well. But in Gasaraki, they did something interesting, and I guess I'll say it's one of my favorites just because I thought it was really cool. The opener was modular. It effectively consisted of a whole bunch of fairly short animated bits that were all kind of strung together in this like vague generic opener thing that kind of told you what was going on in the show. Every episode or every couple episodes, they would move around a couple of them or replace one or two of them. And as you watch the show, eventually the opener is totally replaced with completely different footage. And if you pay attention to that, it kind of enhances your understanding of what's going on in the show.
Yeah, the Gasaraki opener is very good at that.
I really like the song, too.
It's an okay song. I'm actually not the biggest fan of some of the Gasaraki music. It's really like half the songs I love them, and half of them I'm like, this is crap.
I really like the music in Gasaraki.
Yeah, some of it's good, some of it's not. Both standalone complexes have awesome openers, and
Well, particularly the music is fantastic.
Стою на край пропасти, лишь только так можно мир спасти. И не плачь, слезы не спрячь, ведь настанет новый день. Твой огонь согревать будет тысячи сердец.
I don't know what it is about people singing in that language, but
it's
it's
because
just,
you can't understand the words, so you don't realize that the lyrics are stupid.
well, that's not just that, because I don't understand Japanese very well, if at all, either. But because it's a language I don't hear all the time, like Japanese sounded exotic and cool to me, I don't know, 12, 15 years ago. Now, Japanese, while I don't understand it, doesn't sound special at all. It sounds like English to me, except I realize halfway through a conversation, I don't understand it.
Yep, I'm just reading subtitles.
Yeah, like if I'm watching anime and it's not subtitled, I won't notice right away until I realize that I have no idea what someone just said.
Yep.
But I just totally don't even notice.
Like, it totally gets me. I'll watch a subtitled show, and I'll think the people are speaking in English. Like, the combination of the words in text on the screen and people making Japanese noises, sort of my brain turns it.
Japanese noises.
Yeah, my brain takes those two things, adds them up, and I hear that character speaking in English, sort of, in my brain. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but when it's
That's
a
what
language,
happens if you watch a lot of subtitled anime.
any language that I don't have any familiarity with at all, especially when it's being sung, tends to just sound awesome to me. And aside from that, the animation, even the weird CG in the first opener.
Yeah, the first opener is cool, but the only thing wrong with it is that the CG is a little subpar.
See,
but it's not Initial D bad.
It's another unpopular or controversial opinion, but I actually really like the way that CG played out in that opener.
I do, except for a few specific things that you can
I know what you're
stick
gonna
out
say.
like sore thumbs.
You're gonna
like,
say the Major's teeth. At
that's
the end.
right. The teeth, they're just
You know what?
They just stick out so badly.
They didn't stick out to me as being weird. They stuck out to me as being oddly realistic. And I thought that was cool.
No, I don't think they were in the uncanny valley for me. I definitely got those are just not even, they really bothered me not because they were too real, but because they were poorly rendered.
I don't think they were that bad. I thought it was cool.
I think they looked kind of weird.
My favorite part in that opener is still the bit with the Tachikomas.
Of course, Tachikomas are always the master, which is why Ghost in the Shell's awesome closers. It's just Tachikoma, and then at the last second they go do, and that's it. There's no real closer on it, is there?
I guess I could give an honorable mention definitely to Tenku no Escaflowne, because that opener is one of the openers that just so perfectly describes everything about that show in terms of style and mood and theme. You watch that opener and you know exactly what you're going to get.
I want to give an honorable mention to both openers for KO Century Beast.
Oh, God. We got to review those shows, which means I got to get the DVDs.
Yeah,
I just buy the
it's
box.
2 DVDs, right? There's one for the first KO Century Beast and one for the second
I don't know.
one.
I'll just look on Amazon and buy it.
You're going to buy KO Century Beast?
That's a great show to own. It's one of my favorite shows ever.
Rock and roll bomba. Hello.
I mean, the plot is totally stupid.
It's
and
totally
the characters are totally one-dimensional.
OMG, the earth broke in half. Everyone's a furry. The end.
But yet it's so awesome.
It's a funny show. It's cute, and it's worth the few episodes that they made of it. It wouldn't be worth the whole series.
Bond Mint is the best character
Oh,
ever.
Goku though didn't have a great opener or closer. I forget.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but there was a great song, but I just forget it. I don't know. It doesn't
Yeah, whatever.
matter.
Tell us in the forums what openers and closers you liked and didn't like.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to make a thread in the forum for this episode. Everyone post your favorite anime or TV, whatever, openers and closers.
Yeah, we'll have a fun little debate about it.
And why you like them or why you hate them. Or if there's is there anyone you really hate, Rim? A lot?
You see, the thing is, all the openers I hate are the shows I also hate, so I don't watch them.
It's true. It's true.
I can't think of many shows that have an opener that just really don't do the show justice or really suck or just really don't fit. They all seem to work well enough.
I kind of don't like the initial D closer where you see like the live action people singing.
See, I'd totally forgotten about that.
Yeah, I just don't like that one. But the initial D openers in the show make up for it.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com, where you'll find show notes, links, our awesome forum, a link to our Frapper map, and links to all the RSS feeds.
We say feeds plural because Geeknights airs 4 nights a week, covering 4 different brands of geekery. Mondays are science and technology. Tuesdays, we have video games, board games, and RPGs. Wednesdays are anime, manga, comic nights. And Thursdays are the catch-alls for various rants and tomfoolery.
You can send us feedback by email to geeknights@frontrowcrew.com. Or you can send audio feedback via Audio. Just click the link that says Send Me an Audio on the right side of our website.
If you like what you hear, you can catch the last 100 episodes in iTunes or in your favorite podcatcher. For the complete archives, visit the website, which has everything.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 2.5 license. This means you can do whatever you want with it as long as you give us credit, don't make money, and share it in kind. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.